welcome to Pandora's Box. I'm your host, Christopher Marston. We have our guest tonight, Coleman Trapp. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks.
So glad you made it.
Thanks.
And before we delve into it, wanted to do the trigger warning in the night. So if you guys are snowflakes and you're watching this, you're probably going to melt. And if you don't like to hear stuff, you'd better, like what's real, you'd better navigate somewhere else. If you're in a cancel culture, ghosting, doxing, this isn't the place for you. And if you need a safe space, press the back button. That's the safest space for you. So we're going to start the show.
Yep.
We're going to open the box today. And for all those who don't know about Pandora, this is like a book. They're thinking it's Pandora's book. No, it's a box, I promise. This is Pandora in the Greek mythology was given a box and she was told not to open it. You know how that story ends, right? She had to open the box.
Right.
Couldn't help herself.
Right.
So when she opened the box, all of the evil in the world came out. And that's what everybody knows. That's why they're afraid to open the box. But they don't get it. All the evil of the world's already out. Otherwise, everybody wouldn't be so pissed off, ghosting, doxing, and canceling everybody. Right? So what people don't get is what was left at the bottom of the box when Pandora shut the box in horror was human hope.
Ugh.
So what we're doing today is we're talking about the stuff that was in Pandora's box that is now out, so we can put it back in and unleash human hope. So here we go.
All right.
We're going to do this, but before we go, we got a toast.
Cool.
Thanks for making it to the show tonight.
Of course.
All right, buddy. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. So we got this is a 97 cab.
That's great.
And I've been, you're not going to have a hangover from this, I promise.
Wow.
I've been aging that since I was too young to drink.
There you go.
Yeah, it's crazy to think
Great.
about that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so we, I'd say they're a wine sponsor, but not yet. That's the next phone call.
Fun.
Ooh. Well, let's do this thing.
All right.
You open the box first.
All right.
We got to see what's in there. Oh, by the way, the places we will go. Who knows?
Right.
But we're going to go there.
Should I be worried?
You should be. It's Pandora's
Oh,
box.
great. Oh, no. Here we go. All right.
Question is, what the hell's in there?
Oh, my gosh.
It's Pandora's book. There's a lot in there for a little thing. What do you got?
Well, what is everyone thinking but no one saying?
That's like, we'll be here all night.
Right. That's like the meta question. What is
Isn't
everyone thinking but no one saying? What does everybody want? What do we all want?
I think that's a great question, right? What a great place to start. Happy.
Well, I mean, it's not hard to find controversy.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, it gets back. Like, can't we all just get along? How about that? Like, I think people would like to have harmony. How about that?
Harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about people who don't? Do you think that there's people who don't know that what they want is good?
Well, you're asking me if people don't know what they want. Fundamentally. And I can tell you plenty of people don't know what they want.
Right.
They think that. I'll give you an example. My first Match.com profile. I thought I knew what I wanted. I made the whole laundry list. Didn't describe one woman in the universe because it was like some image of perfection that didn't describe reality.
Right.
Because you didn't paint in the scars and the birthmarks and all of the history.
So right now, do we want something as a society? We want something that doesn't reflect reality. I think our idea of paradise isn't true paradise, so we're missing it. We think that paradise is some false equality or... Oh,
shit. It's perfect people? You mean no racists? Seriously, right?
No,
I mean,
right, yeah. Yeah.
Is that, I mean, are we expecting perfect humans?
Is it that paradise won't have pain, or is it that by the time we get there we'll have learned how to process it and how to deal with it? And racism is discomfort.
Oh yeah, sure.
Anything outside of our
the irony of this is, though, I mean, like, you look at a diverse society as diverse as we are, and you celebrate the melting pot that we are.
Yeah. And
then yet in one sense there's a villainize. People are vilifying people's ideas. A diversity of ideas is bad, but a diversity of color is somehow good. Right. But which is it? Which is it? Like, what is the reality that we want? I mean, maybe it's harmony with difference, meaning it's being in harmony and dancing with the difference that we've got instead of expecting everyone to feel the same way, look the same way, have the same opinion on politics and all that.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. we are not celebrating our differences because I don't think we fully come to terms with how different we all are. We've still got this kind of archaic idea that a race is a group of people based on their nationality. But if you think about it from a genetic standpoint, then there's like 7 billion
well,
races.
That's not right. We're the human race. And then you get into it like, really, how granular are we going to get?
Because you can get incredibly granular.
Well, yeah. I mean, according to Elizabeth Warren, she's Cherokee. Mm-hmm. And in order for her to be Cherokee, like she's like 1/10,000th Cherokee.
I mean, I'm genetically different from my sister.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. But I mean, two people who are from the same womb will have genetic differences. That's where races come from. It's like to have one race is kind of a story of inbreeding, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think people want that?
To have one race?
Yeah. They just want to win the race. I think that's what's going on.
No, I think, race. You know, the people who say they don't see race.
We got to go back to this.
Okay.
You asked a big question I wasn't expecting, which is like, what do we all want?
Yeah.
Because I think we're onto something there, which is like, what the hell does everybody want?
Yeah.
Like when I like the madness in the world that's going on right now, it's like back to kind of what the fuck did you expect? Like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
Like somehow it got mad, but it's like we didn't wake up tomorrow and like it was wildly different than the day before.
The writing was on the wall. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know that the writing was on the wall. I'm simply observing the obviousness of what we're talking about is like, what do people expect? What do people want?
Yeah. Well, it looks like people want trouble. That's the
what
evidence.
It looks. That's what it looks like, right?
And the thing is that people want to.
Do you want trouble?
Me?
Yeah.
I think inherently, to some degree, yes.
Okay.
But
that's why we're here.
Yeah. But responsibility and maturity is learning that balance of how do you use trouble for the betterment of society, not how do you use trouble to, screw over your neighbor. Because
that's a fine line.
It is a fine line, but I mean,
what's good trouble?
Going out into the unknown to find out what it looks like to come back and tell.
Pioneering. Okay.
That's I mean, getting in a ship and seeing what's on the other side of the ocean. You're looking for trouble. Yes.
We should take down a statue and then talk about it. Yes, I get it.
Yeah. So the opposite side of that spectrum is knowing what a problem is and tearing something down. That's fair, but you don't know how to fix it. You don't know how to build it back up. There's a lot of people in this world right now who know how to point out problems. But those aren't the same people who know how to fix problems.
Right.
It's a different skill set.
The same. Optimists and pessimists have a difference. Both of them. Many optimists. Well, if you're a blind optimist, you don't see the problem, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a pessimist, you don't see the solution, which is usually equally useless, right? You kind of got to be the optimist who can tackle seeing the negative and then solving for X.
Yeah, there's just
solving the problem, right?
Yeah, you have to be competent.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lack of competence. Not a lack of ideologies.
What's going on with that? What's up with that?
There's not a lot of incentive for competence. I mean, the education system is kind of like, it's still in the Industrial Revolution. It's like a factory mindset. Specialization.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that you mention that. Because it really is, right? It is a factory. And it doesn't work. Like it's like a broken factory.
Right, yeah. We're creating incredibly specialized people, and specialization is the opposite of innovation.
Well, so we're in a society now where the way people learn, people know, like there's kids who learn visually and auditory and reading, other people who read. Yeah, exactly. And there's schools for that. Like there's methodologies for that. But like the factory treats them all the same.
Right, yeah.
Which leaves certain kids behind.
Absolutely.
And that isn't even a race thing. That's just like some people learn differently.
Yeah.
And so like, why wouldn't we fix that shit?
Good question. Yeah, I think incompetence is kind of why. I don't always put malice at the top of the pyramid. Sometimes it's just stupidity. And I mean, things are cyclical. This
stupidity is is incompetence cyclical?
We're just incredibly specialized. Those kids we're leaving behind, I mean, we actually have to even uproot the way that we think about intelligence. And like, because for as many people as there are, there's as many talents as there are as many gifts as there are. So the kid you're leaving behind, you're only leaving him behind in one data set. But like, there's levels, there's geniuses that get left behind. It's such a shame.
That's right. Yeah, of course. That's been true throughout history, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then so where's the controversy? It's like it's madness.
Yeah.
People don't know what they want.
People don't know what they
want.
want.
So they tear down what they think is bad.
Yeah.
to think that they're solving a problem.
Yeah.
Statues.
Yeah, I mean, at that point though, here's the thing though.
Like, okay.
What we're seeing is too little, too late. We've passed a tipping point. It's like you're not gonna find sense in it because here's the thing. Here's a law. Okay, you plant seeds. Time goes by. You reap the harvest. You enjoy the fruit of your labor. What we have right now is
you're skipping the watering part and
all the work,
yeah.
Time and work. What we're having now is people want fruit for trees they did not plant.
Oh.
The seeds
They
were
want
not
handouts.
sown. They yes.
Free stuff.
Yeah, but I think on both sides of the aisle.
It's one of the dangers of a democracy, right? Is that people will vote themselves free stuff, and the feeling that society will pay for it, ultimately toppling itself because the printers are off the hook printing the money that everybody voted themselves to get. And that's definitely a danger, right? Entitlement, feeling of entitlement, free stuff.
Do you feel entitled?
Do I feel entitled? No, not at all. But it's a family thing. Like my dad grew up poor. Nobody gave him free shit. And my mom's side of the family came here from the Middle East, and they were persecuted. They had to leave for their life. They had to start over. Didn't know the language. Didn't know the culture. Started from nothing. So no, I'm not entitled to shit.
How would you fare if you went back to that?
Went back to what?
If the bottom fell out, natural disaster, so nobody's to blame. Natural disaster, we're in a food desert, the society turns upside down and it's back to survival. Are you connected with joy, love, peace, patience, kindness?
I am connected with the three most important things: peace, love, and free-range chicken.
There you go.
Free-range chicken. No, look, I mean, I would fare better because I'm lucky enough to have gone to, my parents valued education, and there's something to that, but there's also street smarts too that you can't replace because smartest idiots in the world are ones with great degrees and don't have a bit of common sense in their brain, and we all know some of those people too, and they probably wouldn't fare so well. So, probably it's not just education. There's a lot to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so
How
much.
would you fare?
I mean, we're not set up for survival in our society. Like we're in an organized, structured environment outside of the confines of the city walls. There's chaos out there that we've, as a society, been protected from. And that's the swing of it. That's the pendulum swing, is that somebody like your parents who went through hardship and didn't want their kid to go through that same hardship,
didn't do them a favor, right?
Not necessarily.
Right,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
Well, there's a saying about wealth, right? The first generation makes it, and the second generation saves it, and the third generation spends it, and then round and round you go. You just start over again.
Yeah.
But you're talking about forgetting where you've come from, forgetting your history.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous, right? As somebody who knows history, and we're talking about a socialist society right now, we're talking about a bunch of kids have been indoctrinated and don't even know what socialism is.
It's deadly.
It's deadly, and they don't even understand it. They have no idea. It was erased. It's painted as a good thing.
Yeah, maybe that's a cycle too. I do though think socialism works in a family unit or a small community. Like it's called communism because a commune is a small thing. Sure. When we're talking about governing the world, you cannot have socialism or.
Oh well, yeah. It's different than a government system, sure. In other words, I think what you're saying is in a small, like a family unit or a village,
as far as you can see,
right? Sure, that's kind of an interesting theory, right? It's not. It may be not a great system of government, but it may be a fine localized system of community or something like that, right?
I feel like there's small European countries that do fine, but if they grew to a certain size,
it'd be problematic and corrupt, and probably all the problems it has in Venezuela. Yeah, crazy shit. Yeah. So, but this all we're talking about here can go in a whole bunch of different directions because it's so real. It's we hit education. And so where do we? Yeah.
It goes deep fast because it's dancing around fundamental discontent. It's
okay. So we forgot where the hell we've come from, and everybody everybody thinks everything's bad because they have no fucking context, right? Because people don't realize how chaotic it is out there.
Oh my gosh!
So America's horrible. Right now, there's that. It never used to be to me that a political party, any political party, meant that we had to trash our own country. And suddenly now the Democratic Party is anti-America. We're bad. We're the worst in the world. We're this and that. I mean, a lot of that is just the pendulum swinging as a reaction to who's in office. But the point is, like, it really is bad if you were somebody who realized, if you're reasonably well traveled and you know what the world is, like, more people want to come here than want to leave. There's a reason for that.
How much of the reason for that is what America has done to those countries?
The reason that people want to come here is because of what we've done to them? Explain that one.
I'm just posing it. Well, we know that, above board policy is very different from like what...
In any country in the world, that's true.
Right.
What the people see is not what's going on.
So ours being the most powerful has had a hand in the economics of the world. Like, we influenced governments. We influence economies outside of our
Sure. Do you? There's a race, right? Is there ever not a race?
A political race?
Between countries. Has there ever been a time in the world where there's not a race?
Well, we're all racing towards betterment. The world is getting safer and healthier. It's just that there will always be someone ahead of the race, and we're looking.
It's never equal.
Right.
It's never equal. But there's always some form of competition. Correct me if you.
No,
disagree with
there
me,
always is a form of competition. But what about the competition of who can do the most good? That's also a competition.
Is that? Wait a second. Is that the UN maybe at an ESG meeting? I mean, the countries are not guaranteed. Russia's not sitting there saying, "How can we do the most good?" While their hackers are hacking our elections,
because they're not the top dog.
Okay, and China,
not the top dog. Although it could be. They want to be.
They want to be. Okay, so how are they getting there? Machiavellian style, right? The ends justify the means. Take them down. Do whatever it takes by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. So
but America is on the top. So then is the game how do I stay on top?
There is a game. Aren't there dangers to not staying on top?
What do you think about globalization?
Wait. Aren't there dangers to not staying on top, right? And then we can touch that.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I don't want to be Hiroshima.
Yeah. I mean, if a country that's communist that wants to take over the world and dominate everybody and has no values whatsoever, and has erased all reverence for any higher power other than itself, which is
taking down deep mythological figures and archetypes and replacing them with the figure of their chairman.
You got it. Yeah. North Korea, China, you name it. Dangerous, right?
It's very dangerous. Yeah.
So that's cancerous. So the stakes of winning that race, which is a competitive race, are really high.
So the question, though, is that it is a race, but the stakes are increasing because the borders are widening. It's like you've seen a soap bubble where when it pops, it becomes larger and larger. So this is a race coming to a head. It can't go on forever. So that brings up that question I asked. What is your thoughts on globalization? Like if the borders dissolved and it went back to like city states can we have an autonomous global government? Like can AI govern the world?
The dystopian society, we are not nearly.
Maybe it'd be utopian.
We're not nearly aligned enough to be ready for globalism.
Yeah.
As far as government, what do you think?
I think it might be heading that way. We humans like to think that we're in control. Like everything that's happening. I mean, it's funny. Because the same people who don't believe in God and are not religious or not spiritual also want to moralize everything. Like I don't believe in God, but global warming is bad.
Look, I think that people that are not religious are religious. I think that people that believe in nothing believe in something. They believe that nothing is more powerful than human. That's what they believe. And that itself is a religion. They pound on their chest like they are the holy ones. Because what you get to do when you deny the presence of a higher power is you get to be the fucking God. So why wouldn't they do that? They're perpetuating their own power. There's no question that that's happening.
Amen.
It's crazy shit though, right?
It is crazy. So here's the thing, though. I think we give ourselves credit for things that are laws of nature. When a hurricane comes and ravages a city, that's nature. When Monsanto, destroys the ecosystem, that's evil man. But when we talk about this race,
no. When a hurricane comes, it's global warming caused it.
Yeah,
by the way,
we changed that one too.
Okay, yeah.
So this race to stay on top that countries are in, you're saying, and that's why we can't be more charity driven because
I don't think that's true. I think there's a Maslow's need thing, right? I mean, like, we have the privilege as a country, by being on top, you have the privilege to make moral, ethical, be a moral and ethical leader. We have a privilege. We're not fighting for our basic needs. Like, more people have basic housing and basic needs met here than many other countries. You can get into
philosophy at that point. You have time to think.
You have time to think, right? And provide for those other needs. So for the most part, I think it's great that if China were on top, you think they're going to be out there espousing the great example and being a leader and lead by example on the world stage? Oh, hell no.
No, yeah,
that. You know the answer to that. Yeah. So the stakes are really high to be the leader, and leadership by example. I'll tell you, I'm a leader in my company. There is no other example. I have arguments with my team about leadership by example because there is no other leadership. You got to live it. Don't be a hypocrite. Yeah, heavy lies the fucking crown. Suck it up. You don't like it, don't be a leader. It's fine. You have a choice.
Yeah.
Be a follower. The world needs them too.
We need a lot more of those. We need a lot more of those.
More what?
People who will be vulnerable and surrender and accept the honor of being a follower. Because if everybody's trying to be a leader, then
it ain't gonna work chaos. Either. No, it's true. It's true. You gotta know your place, and not everybody's. That's about self-awareness, by the way. Understanding your calling and purpose, and understanding that you're not. We gotta build stuff too, and we need leaders and builders, and not if we have too many chefs, who's gonna eat the food? And by the way, it's often better to eat the food.
True.
It's just enjoy the food.
That's a good
For
analogy.
God's sakes, enjoy it.
I like that. That's a good analogy. So
you got to drink more.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah, ask me anything.
I'll take a sip.
That's good.
So what is America doing wrong?
We're eating ourselves alive.
Okay.
And it's because they're vilifying. There's everything's cause and effect, right? So there's pressure. With this pressure on one side and not fall over, there's pressure on the other side, right? This projection. Let me just put it this way. Number one thing is, like, Americans need to understand projection. My mom's a psychologist. She'll teach you about projection. It's like you learn about projection in elementary school when he said, whoever said it, let it. Oh, you farted? It's probably the guy that said it that actually did it. And what's going on in politics is everybody's pointing the finger to get everybody's attention to look at that person. Meanwhile, exactly what they say is happening, they're doing.
So
and all the idiots, they aren't even paying attention, and it's happening. It's tearing people apart because they're not looking.
So we're spending energy, projecting. We're expending energy, taking our problems and projecting it onto the monster.
It's a 3-card Monte game. Hey, look at that.
So where does the energy go if we stop doing that? Like, because that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like we have the infrastructure for world peace. We just don't have the character.
Stop televising what's going on in Congress. Stop. Turn it off. No cameras allowed. Lock the doors. Tell them to get shit done and don't come out until they got a bipartisan bill.
Interesting.
Yeah, don't televise Congress. Don't televise it.
Where did that come from? When did that start?
I have no idea, but the point is, like, it's all they're doing now.
Where'd you get that idea
all they're
from?
getting is, what do you mean? Where I get the idea from?
Yeah,
every time you turn on the TV, everything they do is for YouTube clips and news clips. It's think about a hearing. Today there was a hearing with Barr, Attorney General Barr. It wasn't a hearing. You're supposed to hear people at a hearing. They didn't ask questions. They made statements, and they didn't allow them to answer the question. That's not a hearing. Sound bites. Yeah. Turn the cameras off. Like, they're all out of there.
You can't leave until...
Can't leave. Get shit done. Like, that's what they're here for.
Yeah.
Like, stop bitching about the president. When your approval rating as Congress is higher than the president... Whoever's the president, I don't care who it is not a pro or anti statement. It's simply saying, as soon as Congress has an approval rating higher than the president, then they can bitch about the president. It's a third of the president. It's a third. People don't realize that. But you know what? Because it's easy to vilify a single person. There's hundreds of people in Congress.
Yeah, that might be his role, to be a scapegoat.
Yeah, of course.
Like, that's what the president has been for a long time. I mean,
of course.
They're actors. And it used to be just a metaphor that they were actors, and then we actually started putting actors
Ronald Reagan? He was good.
And reality TV stuff. Yeah, good, but yeah.
No, I get what you're saying.
They should be a model of character.
Obama was a great orator and a great speaker, and he put on the face, and as an example. And in a whole other way, a wonderfully refined actor. Because nobody believes politicians do anything they say they're going to do anyways. What else did we do wrong? We allow all these pacts and private interest groups, to buy off politicians.
Yeah.
Like Cuomo took a payoff from the nursing home executives, and then what did he do? He gave them liability waiver for all the coronavirus deaths that are happening. He gave them right after a big donation. Like, duh, corruption's happening right in front of your eyes.
It's all over the place.
But because it happens on both sides, they're not going to change it. But we know it's like right there. If you stopped that from happening, that's the big block to democracy. Why are people pissed? Because we're a democracy that's not a democracy anymore. Because as soon as you could get paid off by special interest groups, you're no longer a democracy. The people's voice doesn't matter. That's why they're pissed. And they're pissed on both sides. But every side's pissed.
So
nobody feels that we have representative government.
So if everybody's pissed, I want to bring the controversy back in.
Yeah, so like our representative government is being paid off by special interest groups. So everybody's pissed off. Nobody feels the government represents the people. So of course everybody's pissed. The machine isn't working. It's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's not the democracy failed. It's actually the corruption on top of the democracy.
What's it supposed to do?
It's supposed to be representative of the people's voice.
To what extent?
What do you mean what
if the people's voice
to the purest
sucks?
extent?
What if people's voice is misguided?
That's why there's propaganda. So yeah.
What does that mean? That's why there's propaganda.
Because if everything we all heard and ingested was truth, there wouldn't be misguided perceptions if people were engaged. But there could be apathy. There's plenty of people that don't vote, right?
I mean, yes, there's plenty, and I don't know.
So
that
apathy's fine, and they probably shouldn't vote.
Yeah.
There's many. Look, the problem is too that no system is perfect, and no system technically would never get outdated. Think of your computer. Like how long is that going to last? Like the point is that the government, U.S. government, when the founding fathers put checks and balances in place, they put a lot of them in place. It lasted a few centuries. That's great. That's huge. Whatever. I mean, the point is like that's better than most things.
So what if there is a system that's perfect, and we need to be talking about that? Is getting in alignment with the fundamental laws of nature, the conjugate geometry of the universe. And science has been about,
That was some multi-syllabic shit you pulled out right there. What was that? Just sacred geometry. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I mean, well...
So okay, it's a perfect system inspired by nature? Is that you're saying?
Yeah.
That's a whole separate thing. Is there a perfect system, and is nature perfect?
I mean, I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they make adhesives that are inspired by geckos. Gecko tape.
There you go.
There's no joke, actually.
Yeah, I hear you. But I do believe that we have stunted our growth. I believe that democracy should be a stepping stone. Democracy is just another Tower of Babel. We keep trying to create systems to get to paradise instead of turning back.
Retro?
Do you know Babel?
Yeah.
Is an anagram for love of, heart.
Yeah.
So to turn back from Babel would be to, connect with reality.
Okay,
and
truth.
Yeah. We're encoded with perfection.
Okay.
And
where does that come from?
Where does it come from?
Who gives us that?
I believe that, man, it's oneness. It's echad. It's like all things. It's. Some people don't pronounce it because that gives it that takes away from it. There's something triune about it. The three.
Society names it and makes it bad. Why? It's
Yeah.
polarizing to name it. Why? Because we can't say God?
Well, it shrinks. It has a shrinking effect. God is cool. That word is cool, but it's still just a word. Where it's like Yeshua, Yehua, Ehya, Asher, Ehya,
Sure.
Hashem. Like each one of these has incredible depth, and I feel like it's the birthright of humanity. And it's not I'm speaking Hebrew, but it's not just the Hebrew language. It's that all language can work together, and that it has been confused because we were misusing it to build systems when there already is a system.
Okay, so but you're talking about some higher order, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no doubt that man's system is not the perfect system. I'm in agreement.
No doubt.
No doubt, right? And I have no doubt. Like, I could think of like 10 ways America could be improved. Like, duh. Like, I could say that why should I be voting for a Republican or a Democrat, for example? Like, because like
A lot of people are asking that.
well, I mean, for example, like, it's not about the party. It's the fact that like there's just issues I care about, and there's issues I don't give a shit about, and there's plenty of issues I just don't know shit about, and have no place at all voting on. So like, I'd rather have like 100 chips. And just to like put them, if I'm a one issue voter, put them on all the shit you really care about. And
I
if
like that. I've thought about that.
And spread them out. If you have 5 issues, spread them out over the 5 issues. But don't vote on shit you like don't know about. And
I've thought about that. It becomes like fluid dynamics. It's
right.
like
you're
moving energy around rather than.
Well, look, in law school they teach you about negotiation, and the first thing is the orange analogy. Is two people are fighting over an orange. Each of them want the orange. What do you do? Right, and the bozos in the class who's probably going to drop out say, split it in half, give it blah blah blah. What the answer was, well, you just talk to each other, you see each other. Who are you? I'm an artist. Okay, what are you? I'm fucking hungry.
I'm hungry.
Well, the artist wanted to use the peel for an art project, and the other guy wanted to eat the orange.
There you go.
Everybody got what they wanted.
Yeah.
Because you understood what people care about.
I love that.
Like, holy cow, so
we
like
can do that now.
Look, technically, anything could be done because the system of government can be enhanced. It was designed to put new roles and laws in place to change and evolve. Mm-hmm. The problem is the corruption that intercedes. That's the problem.
Well, that might have been a failing of the people who created it to not...
Of course, it's been gamified, right? But they didn't have that word back then. Nobody knew what gamification was.
Or the foresight. To see how it would be gamified, how the world would change. Like the internet. Like, could you imagine them knowing about that? The founding fathers. It's crazy. But the question is, it's like, we are stewards of the land. No man has a perfect system, but man is the steward of a perfect system. We're here to take care of the land and the people. And like, we're not just talking heads. People like us have actual influence. And so when we see people throwing chairs into the Supreme store to steal the kicks, it is not difficult to point out what they're doing wrong and what's wrong.
I thought they were just shoplifting some bread. Oh, shit. Is that what No? There was only Nikes in there. I forgot. Yeah.
Right, but there's a problem there.
Yeah, of course there's a problem there.
But it's not a moral problem.
What is it?
It's somebody not being responsible. It's leaders not kicking ass.
Okay.
It's the heavy is the crown, so I got it made by little hands in a third world country to fit nicer.
Yeah, so the leaders aren't leading.
The leaders aren't leading, and there's
you don't let. Look, there is a failure of leadership, right?
But I'm not talking about governmental leadership.
Everything. You're going all the way down to the person who looted a store. Failure of leadership.
So they're not being a leader to their family by being a bad role model, but also we moralize things. Like, we're chronic moralizers. We are always eating from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's good and bad.
Is it about righteousness? Is that like I'm righteous? Is there not morals?
It's like
I know what you're saying.
It's like we've got so many skeletons. Like I'm so fucked up that I want to point at someone else.
That's different. So moralizing that's different. So what you're saying isn't that morals don't exist. It's actually that we're not leading by example. We're saying you're hypocrites.
That's one piece of it. But also we do moralize things that are not moral issues. Like racism is not a moral issue.
I agree. Nor is it a political issue. Right. Like, it's not a political issue. There's nothing inherently
it's scientific,
democratic.
It's biological. Sorry,
that's fine. There's nothing inherently democratic about being anti-racist other than the fact that they're the ones that enslaved the black people and to begin with. So that's inherently a problem. But let's just look the other way.
Right. What is it about human nature that wants to domineer, control somebody else for economic gain? Slavery was about economics. It was not about racism. But that doesn't mean that it's something. But but if you're a greedy individual who uses slavery to boost your income, and somebody comes up to you and is like, "Oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that." You're gonna lie and say, "Oh, they're subhuman," and so then you're creating a whole
Yeah, the narrative.
A whole
and
narrative
the memes
that turned into racism, but that is not where it started. It was economics from the beginning.
Oh, sure was. Yeah. Okay, got it. Well, so what all you're saying is, look, the Machiavellis, the ends justify the means. You could be that way. Our slogan at Exemplar is the ends exemplify the means, which is like success leaves clues. But like, be a good fucking leader. Like, there's clues of like how you got there. If you murdered a bunch of people and like used slave labor, like people can tell. They know what an asshole at the top looks like. People are smart.
Yeah.
Like, when Xi Jinping smiles and gives you the little smirk and everybody thinks he's cute and little puffy guy, and then he goes and disappears a bunch of people and, is doing takedowns in Hong Kong and everything. Everybody knows what's going on.
So like, what do we do? Because that's controversial. Nobody wants to talk about solutions. Because solutions are work. It's responsibility.
I want to talk about solutions.
All right, so...
What do you want to solve?
How do you have compassion for somebody who's throwing a brick into a store to steal shoes?
Why is that the first? So why is that the first analogy? Let me ask you. Why is that the first?
Because I think it's a hot button for you.
People that are like stealing shit and looting.
Yeah.
Like violence. Violence is an issue. It should be an issue for a lot of people. Okay. So why should I feel compassion for that person? I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Like,
how can you feel? What needs to happen before we can? Because you and I are blessed beyond belief.
Yeah, but according to everybody, we have white privilege, even if we're not
white.
No,
I mean according to ourselves. Like, you are blessed. Okay. I'm sure that you would say
I feel
that.
blessed, and I'm not using. Yeah, I guess you're using the right word. Blessed, totally blessed.
Yeah, I feel that same way.
I feel immense gratitude for feeling blessed.
But I don't call
it privilege. I feel blessed.
But you have resources that I don't have. But I think that we are both equally...
You have resources I don't have.
True.
But you might be able to write a better song too.
I might be able to write a better song.
It's right.
Let's look at it from a third party.
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
A third party's looking at you and I.
Yeah.
Says Chris has more resources than Coleman.
Why would they say that?
One metric.
All I got is peace, love, and free range chicken.
Pick a metric.
That's it.
Pick a metric.
You got
by one metric you have more resources. Okay.
Not by shoes. I'm wearing Crocs. I'm just saying. I'm wearing I got stained jeans on right now. It's good. It's fine. It's fine. Pick a KPI. Somebody's got more than something else.
Right.
Abundance, love, family, heart, children, areas in which they're blessed.
I was talking about material things.
Material things?
So materially...
It's picked up like the least important KPI.
Well, that's what this is about, because we're talking about somebody throwing a brick into a building to steal kicks. For them, it's about material. So they would look at...
What are kicks?
Shoes.
Okay, I figured. But
You didn't know that?
No, are they Nikes? Like, why would anyone want to steal anything out of the Nikes? I didn't know. Like, I gotta know this stuff. No, serious. I love it. That's great. It's good. Well, we got to be a little funny, right?
Yeah. Good. You're better at it than I am.
No, that's good. Yeah, it's good. I'm just starting. The night's young.
The night's
young. Come on.
Man, I need to lighten up.
It's good. That's a hoot.
So
yeah, pick a metric. Material things. Right.
Okay, so pick a metric.
Yeah.
It's arguable that you would have more of some, or let's flip it, because you're struggling with that. Maybe I have more of something in a metric than you do.
That's fine,
but
of course.
You and I are both blessed.
We're both blessed.
By a long shot. There is somebody on this planet who has more than both of us of that metric we were talking about, but does not feel that same blessing. They feel like they're getting their ass handed to them by the world. Uh-huh. So that's where compassion steps in, because there we have a responsibility.
Yeah. But it's not handouts.
No, it's not handouts. So what is it then?
Well, you said compassion. Why do you think it's compassion?
Because...
Why are we blessed? Why are you blessed? I can tell you why I think I'm blessed, but I want to hear, like, why do you think you're blessed?
It's hard for me to wrap my mind around it. I think I got really lucky.
You're just lucky, like natural selection, fucking like blessed by...
Since I was a little kid.
Russian roulette luck.
Since I was a little kid, I felt a presence.
No, that's different. That's being the chosen one. That's about being chosen.
Okay.
That's different, right? Being blessed and being chosen.
So there's responsibility there.
I think you feel, you're not naming it. You're afraid to name it. You were chosen.
Okay.
Okay.
For what?
So, like, who chose you?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a higher power, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not man.
Right.
The president didn't choose you.
Right.
Like, it wasn't Papa Smurf that came in and said, hey, Pa. You're my little guy. You're the man. Wasn't that man? Okay. So you were blessed by a power. Mm-hmm. And for that, you've been given a capability to have a lot of things, love and compassion, all this stuff.
Yeah,
maybe
the fruit
they can.
of the spirit.
Right.
Imagination, creative abilities.
And because we have it, we have to give it.
That's not what I'm saying. Okay. Because I don't think it's a limited resource. I don't think it follows the same rules of nature.
I agree with you. I don't think give it away wasn't what I was saying.
Oh,
saying
gotcha.
It's like vision.
Share it.
Vision. Share it.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I give vision. I share vision. I get it. Yeah, share it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's not like I don't give it and then it's gone. Mm-hmm. You give it and then people see.
Okay, so the electromagnetic spectrum has two sides to it. It has the Shakti energy, the electric, explosive, entropic side of things. Mm-hmm. And we measure that with our scientific devices. We know all about it. We don't know about the other side of the electromagnetic spectrum, the magnetic side, that is the neg entropy, it's organizing, it's defined by phi. It might be the function of gravity, consciousness, vision, sight.
Magnetism.
Healing, yes.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's an Eros. There's concepts of magnetism that are unexplainable, right?
So is there a technology, a science, an energy that would bring the world to a place of abundance that's being suppressed? Because...
So how are you going to do that without them seeing? Don't they have to get blessed, or don't they have to see? They can't be blind, right? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Are you seeing this happens by people staying blind?
What do you mean by that?
We're blessed. We just talked about where it came from. So now what? What are we giving to them? Are we giving them a fish? Are we teaching them to fish?
You can
I'm
lead a horse to water, but you can't teach it how to fish.
Okay, and they could be blessed too, but I can't bless them.
Okay,
so I could give
back
them.
up because I want to understand what you're saying.
Okay, yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
I just say I want to make the connection between the download or the connectivity to a higher source.
Because you can give it a bunch of names, but it is a universal substrate. It is all things.
Okay,
it's the set of all sets. Sure. So they're still in it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just
they're
clarify.
Still subject
Let's just
to
clarify
the same
for everybody. It's not some old white dude up there somewhere. Yeah,
right.
Fine.
It is all things.
It's all things.
So even though we're connected to it, that doesn't mean that they're not still subject to the same laws.
We all agree with that. But they have to see that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So
wait, do they though, or is there a responsibility that we have to share it?
What's the difference?
I mean, that's a fair question.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what's the difference?
Giving them a fish and teaching them to fish.
Yeah. So how do we teach 6 billion, 7 billion people how to fish?
Well, you don't give them God-colored glasses because I'm not sure that's going to help them see, right?
Yeah. Great point. Great point. Yeah.
And so that's the interesting. You want people who think, who see, who can connect, or do they have to become dependent? Talk to a priest to talk to God, whatever you want to call it. The point is intermediary. They're dependent. They're not independent.
What if there's a new system for a new era?
What does that mean?
What
would that look like?
There's this...
looks like new wine for me, but I just want to share what it means for you.
There's this religious figure. There's a figure in history, a historical figure named Jesus.
Okay. I know that guy.
Do you?
No.
I met him. I met him at Quiznos. So this guy...
That's Jesus.
There was a finite time when he came to Earth. Finite.
Okay.
There was a tipping point. Mm-hmm. Okay, there was a tipping point when King Solomon's temple was built. There was a tipping point when Abraham get up and go.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to take it out of the religion, there was a tipping point when the Buddha said, "I don't want to live inside of a walled garden. I want to see what's outside, where there's death and sadness and sickness." Yeah. Or there was a prophet who saw people worshiping idols.
Or somebody ate the forbidden fruit. I mean, you name it. Another version of opening the forbidden box.
There was a tipping point. Different ones.
Yeah, of course. I agree with that.
So maybe right now we're at a tipping point. And by pointing backwards and being like, oh...
Well, we're at the end of a Eula.
What's a Eula?
It's a 26,000 year cycle or something.
Dang.
Yeah, no, it's a huge thing.
Are we?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Who told you?
And the energy is flipping from masculine to feminine. So it is actually this transformative time.
So what do we need now?
I'll have another guest on that, but you and I could talk about it.
I got to hear that. Yeah. I got to listen to that.
Mm-hmm. That's badass stuff.
That is badass. So what... Okay. To reopen the box.
You want to reopen the box? We were going down a good. We could open the box. We could finish this one.
You seem like you have a solution.
Now, you wanted to talk about solutions, which is great, and I'm open to talking about solutions, but let's say we're at the end of a something. It's okay. We're at a tipping point.
Because every time I'm saying, like, what do we do? Okay, because there's 7 billion people on this planet. That's a lot of people. And, like, we are called to steward. And when I say we, humans, we're the smartest, most intellectual...
Okay, wait a second. Okay, if you want to go there, we'll talk about solutions. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, but like every time there were major shifts in history, there were groups they were considered light at the time. The mystics, there were groups like Illuminati, there were groups like the Templars, there were groups like the what do we call the Masons, right? And they had a period in history with which things could have gone really well or shit could have gone down really bad. And as soon as like stuff was okay, they disintegrated or like fought and they tried to perpetuate their power or stay in existence. It didn't work because truthfully those existed only to steward the transition. That's it. Their useful existence in the entire universe was just to transition and make sure shit went right. And somehow it all went okay. And so nobody knows the answer, but we're here. But kind of what you're saying is you're tapping in, like people are tapping into light and saying, some people, like, we've got a duty. We got to step the F up and make sure shit goes right.
Because everybody can't be wrong. It can't be that all of these people are wrong. It's because it's not a moral conversation.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: Can we solve it by not having the conversation?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So we have to have the box, and we have to be opening the box, right? Because if we don't have that conversation, we're never gonna influence anything.
So maybe there should be a TV show on public television where it's just... I mean, how do you do that? How do you desensitize the public? Because I don't think you're wrong. Like, I don't want words to be off limit.
Yeah.
If I want to make chaotic noise, I don't want to be afraid of what comes out.
Right.
Because we're entering into a new era. Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Sure.
I might need to do some crazy things to survive, and I don't want to be like, oh, am I crossing a line here? If my heart is in the right place.
Well, I'll put it this way. The way I think about it is we go home, your heart is where your heart is, and your mind is where your mind is, and your words sometimes aren't always carefully chosen, nor mine or anybody's. So, but that's what's real at the moment. And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just a mistake, right?
In fact, said some dumb things.
And how many dumbass things were like everybody in the world's thinking some dumbass shit right now. Everybody. If they were caught on camera and you recorded every bit of everybody's life, we're all hypocrites, we're all racists, we're all meanie beanies, we're all Donald Trumps, we're all whatever, right? Because we're everything we accuse that guy of and everyone else we hate. That's you. That's me.
Yeah, true.
So that gets back to like we're moralizing everything.
We are moralizing.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like you, I want to feel safe. I just want to be authentically me.
Yeah.
And like I want to improve.
Safe to do something stupid.
Safe. I want to be able to like, I'm going to do dumb stuff and like, but I'll learn by my dumb stuff and like sometimes, and I want to enjoy and appreciate difference. I don't give a shit if you agree with me. It's okay. But I want to love you anyway. And I want to hear you. I want to see you. Like, we were in a board meeting with the Center for Integral Wisdom, which is awesome stuff. And we were talking about Arrow. So anyway, I don't know why I'm talking about this on this show. Because we were talking about falling in love. We were talking about the laws of attraction. We were talking about magnetism.
Okay.
What you were saying. Right? And like back in childhood, like when I would look at like as a flirt when I was a kid. Can't do that anymore. I'm married. I got kids. But you're talking about when you fell in love with a girl or someone at school. Like those moments I remember, they were in their natural environment, being authentically them. She might have been painting and she's an artist or creative, and it was just so beautiful because I fell in love with the most natural, true form of that person. And, that's what's missing right now. You can't love each other if you can't see each other. There's nothing to love about that. Because this is the less I know you, the less intimacy we have, the more I can demonize you. And morally, I feel justified in doing it. I don't know you. God forbid I came to like you. I'd have trouble doing that. But that's what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
It's tribal.
It is tribal. It's not cool.
It's not cool at all. It's not cool at all. So yeah, we want to solve problems. Don't we just have to start there? Don't we have to like just step the F up and not be silent now? Don't be silent. And not the kind of manipulative don't be silent shit that you're saying, because I think that's in the box. I think you put that in the box, right?
I did. Should we pull it out right now?
We should pull it out of the box.
So the idea that...
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. It says silence is violence.
You mean it came right to the top of the box? That's hot. It was right at the rose to the top of the box.
To the top.
Who did it? The power did it. The power did it. It wasn't Houdini.
Silence is violence. That idea.
Silence is violence.
Because you're kind of saying that, but not. But
no,
not
I'm actually.
directly.
Yeah, I'm attacking the silence is violence concept. No,
I don't like the catchphrase "silence is violence" because violence is violence.
Wow, that's so deep.
Well, think about it.
Violence is violence. Okay.
Think about it. It starts like this, and then when people are getting shuttled into camps, like that is violence, not silence.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But so wait a second. So this is where people are manipulating good little sound bites to get people to believe shit. But if I understand it, for anybody who doesn't know what that means, silence is violence is basically saying, speak up for one political side, otherwise you're being violent.
Yes.
Right.
If you don't speak up against
cops
killing black people, then you are killing black people.
Right, and that's like saying if you don't denounce Trump, you're racist, or if you voted for Trump, you're racist, or whatever. If you don't, that's what they're saying. It's
manipulative.
Yeah, it's manipulative.
And you're on the bright side of that, saying like we should be loud about what we believe.
About authentically what we believe, right or wrong, right or left. That's what I'm saying, which is anti what that statement is saying. Yeah,
we need so much help because there will be the crazy MRFer that will hear you and he wants to get loud with his machine gun from a tower. Like, we need so much help. Like, we can't point fingers right now. Like it's dire straits. We need a higher power, and that's like the biggest controversy. It's embarrassing.
But okay,
to talk about
I think it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So of course it's embarrassing. But didn't look the interesting thing is there's a book. It was written in German. It's called The Protestant Ethic of Capitalism.
Okay.
Sorry, people don't go to school anymore. They don't learn their history, and many people don't know the history of capitalism itself, or the history of America for that matter. What they don't understand is that all of the dollar bills, it's right up there, it says, "In God we trust." There was a separation of church and state, but there wasn't a separation of higher power in the United States. God was built into the United States. Whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter what you call it. It's like you said, it's everything. You can call it Buddha, you can call it whatever you want. It was woven in. It wasn't religion. Religion, as in the ritualistic practice of doing something in a specific belief system.
Like a mass.
Yeah. That was separated. But God wasn't separated. But what's happened over the last several decades is the concept of higher power has been stripped under the guise of separation of church and
because we made the mistake of thinking that we allowed God into the country. We didn't. You're saying like God was built into the country?
Yeah, he wasn't invited in. It was built into it.
Okay, I think those are both wrong. We don't have the power to build God into anything.
What do you mean?
Well, okay. So I'm not saying it's Buddha.
We didn't build God. It was the acknowledgement of a higher power. Well, look, we only got two choices here.
Okay.
Right? It's man has power. Man is all power, or there's a higher power. That's it. Unless you see something, is it Elf, Smurfs?
You say give me my two options.
Could be Red Fraggle. Who doesn't love Red Fraggle? She was my favorite. The Doozers.
I love the Fraggles.
I love the Doozers. You gotta love.
What were the Doozers?
Those little construction workers that the Fraggles used to eat.
Oh, they would just like walk through the background.
Yeah, you'd always like feel bad for the Doozers because they like they're.
I didn't know they got ate by the Fraggles.
They got like chewed on and like they get it isn't easy being green. They weren't green, but it certainly wasn't easy being a Fraggle. I love that, man.
That was a good show.
That just aged me.
Did it?
Yeah,
Not by much.
Oh, come on.
Not
That's
by
like talking about Hollywood Squares and like no whammies, no whammies.
Hollywood Squares
Press
is
your
a
luck.
little older, I
Press
think.
your luck. It is. It's older.
Right?
All right, we just went down the wrong rabbit hole. But like seriously, it's here's a choice. Like it's either there's a higher power, or man is the most powerful. What is it?
I don't think that choice exists.
Well, of course that choice exists. Because God was recognized as built in as an existence,
Okay.
and therefore there was a power to answer to. That was acknowledged from the beginning of this country, and it was built into everything. That means there's Masonic symbols, Illuminati symbols, there's God symbols.
I get that they were trying to do that.
No, they weren't
but
trying
the
to
thing
do
is,
that.
there was an expiration date on that though, because God
Really?
grew
God grew?
when we did, when we became more technologically powerful, when we took pictures of the whole world, when we uncovered Egypt.
God grew? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what do you mean? You just blew my brain. Like, what do you mean God grew? God was already like huge. It's huge.
Infinite and static, but our powers of observation determine what size we see him as.
Okay, so what?
So we learned more, we grew, our population grew, our troubles changed, so therefore our relationship changed.
But that doesn't make sense, because what you're saying technically means that we should be revering God more, because God grew.
Of course we should be revering him more.
But that you realize the opposite is what's happening right now.
Yes, because we're trying to hold him. There's a box. There's a beautiful box around the Creator.
Okay.
It's an infinite being. That means that every problem that we're saying, all these controversies are nothing. They're dust in the wind. They're all solvable. Okay.
They just quoted Kansas.
Did I?
Yeah, we're just dust in the wind. That's good.
If a group of guys
Yeah, I get
can
it.
give you freedom, then they've just sold you something that was already yours.
Yeah.
If they're giving you the right to worship God, they've just sold you something that was already yours.
I get it. I agree with you. So, but why? But what's going on is the opposite, and that's dangerous. So we talk about like what's danger. Isn't it dangerous? Isn't it dangerous when man thinks man is the most powerful in the world?
Okay, yes, but man has to be the most powerful while being humble.
Wait, why do we have to be? So we have to be the most powerful?
Yeah, we're the throne. We've been created to be like God. We were created in His image. Like
Oh boy, we should do a bad job.
exactly.
So, yeah.
Amen. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
got it. Okay.
Yeah, we're undershooting by a long shot. We are responsible for everything that's
Yeah,
going
but
wrong.
you don't get more. Okay, but you don't get more godlike by being disconnected from the power.
Absolutely not.
Right. Oh, you're in agreement.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So by being disconnected to source, you lose your moral. You lose your sense of like what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
Okay. We don't disagree. We better open the box. Let's open the box. Here, it's my turn. Let's see what in there say. Did you already pop this one? Wait, I want this one. Oh, look at this. Is anybody not racist?
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
I love
That's
that
huge.
question.
That's a great question. Is anyone not racist?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But-
So everybody's racist.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yes. Are you?
I agree. So shouldn't everybody just say like we're racist and call it a day?
There'll be,
I'm just saying, like, shouldn't we just all just like say it and like be done with it?
I mean that that is the start of the conversation. Though.
Yeah. Well, no, it'd be the end of the conversation, wouldn't it?
If everybody accepted it.
If everybody just said everybody's racist, wouldn't it be done?
So I'm at a loss for words right now. What's that thing where you hold somebody back based on their race? What's that called?
Racism?
No, the
What?
There's another term.
Discrimination.
Yes.
Okay.
Discrimination.
Yeah.
Is everybody discriminated?
It's the same thing. Everybody
Do you think
discriminates.
so?
Of course. Aren't you discriminating? Do you like peanut butter? Do you like all foods?
So
You're discriminating. Wait a second. This word is the same.
can you be racist and not discriminate? I don't think they're the same. If they were the same, they would be
they're
the
different.
same word.
People are discriminating. Everybody's discriminating. Everybody's racist.
All right, I want to connect this because
Okay. Do you like every food?
I get what you're saying.
You're a discriminating consumer.
I get what you're saying. There's a hierarchy.
Yeah. Are you discriminating in your friends? Do you have discernment in who you choose to be your friends?
Right, but we're talking about it being based on someone's race.
Well, wait a second.
Specifically.
No, all that is a version from an economic standpoint. It's a version of the same thing. We're the ones that made race a thing.
How?
We made race a thing. We put it in a box and we put it in a category and we say, you could be discerning and you could even be discriminating. But if it's with that, you're racist. That's what we did. Man did that.
Do you want to hire someone based on the color of their skin?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Never.
So
I don't want to fire them based on the color of their skin. I don't want to hire them based on the color of their skin.
So
I don't want to see the color of their skin. Like, it doesn't matter to me. I really actually don't care.
Okay. So
melanin, is it melanin? Melanin? Is that the color of your skin thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that is it.
Yeah. Like, it's not binary. It's not binary. It's not like black and white. Like, I don't know. Last I checked, I see like super VGA, at least. Thousands of colors. Mm-hmm. Am I white?
No.
Thanks.
I know the punchline to that one.
That's good. Yeah, I know. We watched the show before. Okay.
So, discrimination
Yes.
is a different word than racism.
Sure is.
To be discriminatory is very broad. You can discriminate against peanut butter, as you made clear.
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, so race, let's say, is a set. Okay, race is a set.
It's a set. It's a set.
And then within that, there's other sets of like, what race are you? And then you can get, even within the African American community, they battle it out on who's light skin and who's dark skin.
Oh, sure.
Within Armenians, it's Hayastanse.
No, look, I think saying black is racist because it's embarrassing. I mean, first of all, I know what black looks like. And last I checked, black people don't look black. But, that's one thing. I think that's racist. But I actually know people
What do you think? I got to get clear because I want to make sure we're on the same page. What does the word racist mean to you?
I'm not sure it matters what it means to me. It means you actually are like prejudiced, and the prejudice is a different word.
That's the word I was looking
prejudice.
for. Not discriminatory, prejudice.
Prejudice, So you prejudge the character negatively. I'm going to say negatively because it obviously wouldn't.
Do you think
favor
everybody's prejudiced?
I think everybody's prejudiced.
Really?
Well, do they feel negative in some ways? Look, I have an Armenian guy on the show. Mm-hmm. He said, well, I'm racist, and why? I asked him. He says, because I want my daughter to marry a Armenian guy, because I think that'd be easier.
Interesting.
Yeah. Does that mean... So here's the thing, is like, do people have prejudices? Everybody has prejudices about something.
Of course.
Are they that as a character? No. That's what people paint you as. Because like good people do bad things and bad people do good things. True. It's the thing that absolutely buried Sanders because it was a dumb move if you're a politician to say like the Cuban guy. What's the head of Cuba? What's his name? Castro. He said bad leaders do good things too. And they're like, you didn't just say that, right? But but the thing is like you paint a character based on one behavior. People do that on the media all the time. It's called cancel culture or takedowns. It's a takedown culture. They say one bad thing and they paint you as that.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Of course it's a shame.
It gets in the way of intimacy.
It's not real.
It's so we cannot get to know each other.
Bingo. Because if we do, we have more compassion.
Yes.
If we do, we can't vilify people. Because we see them. Holy shit, dude. That's crazy. So everybody's racist.
I think I agree with that, but I think there's two sides to it. You're talking about one as like your right to prejudice or discriminate.
I'm not trying to make it right. I'm simply saying, does it exist?
Okay,
does it exist in some amount?
Is it economic? Is it biological? Like, because when I say everybody's racist, I'm speaking biologically. I think that it's an ancient survival mechanism inside of our brains. It's a difference detection system.
A difference detection system. Absolutely. Yes. There's no doubt that there's some type of that going on, right?
And there's a part of me that takes that difference detection system and it starts to moralize things where I'll see behaviors in another culture and another race. And I'll moralize it and be like, it's like my uncle. Like, he gets pissed off when he sees some guy with his pants sagging. It's like he's making a moral issue out of something that is just not a moral issue. But
is pants sagging a moral issue?
To him, it is.
What's the moral issue?
He doesn't want to see the guy's butt. He doesn't want to see this guy's underwear.
But that's like a trigger warning, right? Like what is it? People need a safe space. Like look the other way.
Right.
Like you can press the back button, turn your head.
But the difference though is that I want to see that I have those.
It's free speech.
Biases. And
show me the cheeks. It's free speech. I got it. So whatever, okay, so the point is I'm not sure your point is different. I'm saying, sure, there's a difference detection system. It wasn't political. Racism, prejudice, that concept was not political. Politicians didn't exist from the beginning of time.
Well, there's always that guy in the tribe.
There's always that guy. The tribe. The Jewish tribe. I love that. That's funny. I'm just saying that, like, politicians, okay, that's fine. But the point is that it got politicized. The difference detection system had existed forever. It's innate.
Yeah,
and then we politicized it.
I don't know if I think we moralized it. But what does politicized mean to you? What does that mean? Because that term hasn't been around. Politics have been around since the dawn of time, but the word politicized has not been around since the dawn of time.
So one party has attempted to own, the Democratic Party has attempted to own the racist pointing finger, as if they don't do any of it and everyone else does all of it.
It's switched back and forth. Democrats are racist, Republicans are racist. Democrats are... Who's holding it back? Democrats are on the side of black people, but they're holding them back.
It's fine. It's very clear who enslaved black people. It's from a political party standpoint. It's very... It
was economic, right?
At that time, what do you mean it's economic? It was a part...
It wasn't political.
It was... At that time, it was actually political, and Republicans were fighting to free the slaves.
Oh, you're talking about the Civil War. Yeah. The abolishment of slavery. I thought you meant the enslavement of black people. But you meant the abolishment of slavery.
Yeah, that's right.
But that was still arguably an economic decision. The northern states used less slavery. Southern states used more of it.
No doubt. Yeah. Okay. There's lots of rationalizations for everything. Yeah. But the point is, because it's become a political football, it's become politicized.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not inherently a political thing, right? The fact that a difference detection system might innately exist.
That's not political.
That's not political. It's not inherently Democrat or Republican.
Nothing should be political, though. I think our government is too large.
I mean, it's like I see my black neighbor walking down the street. I didn't know he was a neighbor, but you also have an innate difference detection system, and you know what a neighbor looks like because he's sort of strolling down the street like he belongs there. And you wave to him and he waves back and says hi, and it's like there's a certain engagement.
Acts like a neighbor.
Yeah, there's a certain engagement that's just like, yeah, hey dude, you're welcome to the neighbor, like, or hi, you know? Yeah. And just like I'd see the white woman walking her poodle, like it doesn't really matter to me. It's like,
it's your community.
It's the community you live in.
Your children sleep here.
Yeah. Like, and would it be the same if it were somebody with their pants half down walking with a yo and
that's not about race.
It's not about race.
That's the difference detection system.
You got it.
It's multiple things. It's like sometimes it's just I'm getting a bad vibe.
Bingo. Vibe matters, right? It's the survival instinct of why people like cross the street when they see like what they think is a hoodlum, and a hoodlum of any race on the same side of the street is to survive. Like they don't want to get robbed or hurt or whatever. They cross the street.
So we agree on that. The thing though is that difference detection system. Sometimes our detection systems, although
DDS baby,
although they're built right, they can be misused and can start dysfunctioning and become compounded and become systemic and become dysfunctional. So I think it doesn't change the start. A lot of ways, but before I get into that, it doesn't change the fact that we all have to accept that we're all racist.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it, that's a foundational thing. It's like I love diversity. I love different races.
Oh, yeah. So why do we have to so do we have to call each other racist all the time? Do we have to do that? If we all are, there's no utility in saying it, right?
We need to define it because racism cannot be prejudice, and it cannot be, what was the other word? It starts with a D. Discrimination, because if these are three different words, they have to mean three different things. We can't compound these words.
Sure.
Racism has to mean something other than prejudice.
Well, I don't know what racism means anyways, because you don't look at somebody and know what their race really is.
Right.
There's a fundamental issue that's like there's like this flaw of people thinking that like just because they might have darker melanin color on their skin that they're black, which again is just such an offensive concept to me. It's an offensive concept to Jamaicans and Pacific Islanders and lots of people who get painted in the same category but really aren't.
Yeah, I've heard that.
They're from Barbados, and it's like that's the culture. It's completely different. Like they don't know shit about Africans.
Right.
They just don't.
Yeah, that was a fail when we
major fail.
Yeah.
Like whoa, they don't relate to that.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that even people would think that, you know.
Yeah. You would know as a white guy, you know.
I don't know what I don't know what you're talking about. I'm white. I don't know.
Tell me your background again.
Yeah, my mom's side's Iraqi Jew.
Wow.
And they came there. They left Iraq to get out of. They were being persecuted in Baghdad, and they went to Vienna, and then they went to London, and then they went to Massachusetts, and then they settled in Michigan, and they said they moved like a bunch of times to avoid, and they had to leave everything they had to start over many times, and like, wow, holy crap! Like, how far can a generation or two go? Like,
that's awesome.
You want to talk about blessed? Like, we got a lot to be thankful for. We should stop bitching. Mm-hmm. Period. Like, we should stop bitching.
In general, absolutely. Right. Gratitude could save this planet.
No doubt. We
gotta wake up and look at what we have, because what we have is everything. Yeah. Every breath is a gift.
Yeah. Yeah. Gratitude is the attitude, baby.
Gratitude is the attitude. How do we drop gratitude out of airplanes onto unsuspecting cities? How do we crop? What is it called? How do we chemtrail gratitude?
Chemtrail gratitude? Oh shit. I love it. It's a good question. I'm not sure I have the answer to that.
I think it's an injectable.
You think it's an injectable?
It might start with a K.
Oh shit.
The Dalit Mim Tav, the door, the DMT door.
Oh my god. That's funny. Okay, yeah, a little of that. I don't know, man. I just look. That's like solutionary stuff, which is important. But I think we got to start waking up and seeing each other, because, like, it's like you said, if we aren't having the tough conversations, we're not going to see each other. If we're not going to see each other, we're not going to be intimate. If we don't have intimacy, we have a moral excuse to vilify each other. I feel morally justified in saying that person's a bad person because I don't know them. I don't see their heart. I don't know who they are. Because the reality is, when you get to know people, like, most people aren't bad. They just, like, every once in a while they say mean shit, or they think something. Yeah, there are some people that more often than not think stuff that we disagree with. There's some of those too. It's cool. Love to have lunch with them sometime. just to see them.
Or do a podcast with them.
Yeah, that too.
You need to find somebody that you really disagree with.
I could have really disagreed with you and I wouldn't have known it. No, seriously.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I didn't know this stuff. Let's open the box.
All right.
Your turn.
Let's do it. Should intellectual property exist?
Oh shit. Okay. We'll go there. Should real property exist?
I mean, that's a better question. Who was the first one to say this is my land and not yours? Where'd that start?
Real property rights? Well, I'm just saying intellectual property was born out of an inspiration from real property rights, right? I mean, something existed, something was made to exist that didn't exist before. Now, there's a limited amount of land, but in a pioneering society, when you were finding new land, it didn't exist before, so you were finding it. So it was new.
Right.
And some people would say, because my dad's side is, goes back to the Cherokee Indians about 1,000 times more than Elizabeth Warren, just to say so.
Okay.
Genetically. And I think I'm about an eighth Cherokee.
Okay.
And so they would tell the story as wait a second, it's not new, it was my land, and you killed my people and then gave me a piece of it. Mm-hmm. And that's another true part of the story. Mm-hmm. Right? So here comes intellectual property, which arguably IP is built upon other ideas, and it's a combination of things that existed before in new ways that never existed before that have novel outcomes. That's IP. Just sort of defining it, not to get all lawyerly.
No. I hear you.
Yeah.
I wonder if materialism, greed, property in general has slowed the pace of human evolution. And I hear the argument that without the funding, without the incentive, stuff doesn't get done. But I wonder if that's an idea worth challenging.
What would the alternative be?
Well,
what alternative hasn't been tried?
There's a faith aspect that if we just step out and do what we're called to do, then everything else will fall together. Everything else will work.
Like I'm pausing because I'm like, faith in what?
So check this out. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, got it.
So right now I'm in a system where I stream my music.
Yep.
And I get paid a percentage, kind of. So money can be defined as human attention.
Well, today that's true, but it wasn't always true.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're in an attention economy.
Okay.
We have a limited amount of attention. You get something, it's worth something.
So music...
As an artist, you get the short end of the stick. You get fucked. Everybody gets more of the share of the attention economy than you do because you're at the butt end of it, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which sucks.
Because we're holding people's attention more, we should be at the top of it.
Technically, you should, which means that you should be honored for your intellectual property more than you are right now.
Okay, here's the problem with that. In that scenario, you're giving me something. You're giving me, I'm giving you honor that was already mine. If I'm holding people's attention more...
Why was it yours?
Because I'm holding people's attention more.
Okay, what you're talking about is actually a meritocracy. Meaning, technically, by holding people's attention more people care. Because more people care, it has more merit. Because it has more merit, you should just get more by virtue of its merit.
No, I do get more by virtue of its merit.
Well, you're advocating that you should get more by virtue of its merit and not by virtue of its being your intellectual property.
No, I'm saying that there's a law in place, and it's not one that people put. And it's that because I'm holding attention, I'm having an influence on society.
Well, that's not a law, that's a contract, technically, because private companies can agree to pay you more for the amount of attention you garner. By private contract, all the law is doing is enforcing a private contract between parties. Which isn't IP law, actually. It's private.
You are getting lawyerly because I'm
I'm
not
breaking it into real stuff.
Well, I'm fighting to make it a little more abstract. So check this out.
Oh, you want to make it more abstract? Okay.
Because I think that's where it belongs. We're talking about intellectual property. It's not a physical thing.
So let's get back to theory.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it will stay ethereal because it is not a physical thing. It doesn't exist.
Okay, so you create a song, but it existed because it didn't exist before. You channeled it.
But it exists in a different
dimension. I write
dimension.
music too, so I channel it, right?
It exists in a different dimension.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So
but nobody's hearing it in whatever dimension it existed until you bring it to this dimension.
Until you bring it, okay?
Got it.
So let's say I'm a great guitar player and a great singer.
Sure.
And I play a show in front of 5,000 people. I'm going to get things from that dynamic that nobody can give me. It's not something that a law put in place. It's not something that is financial. It's no agreement. It's not a contract. Just by me performing in front of people, there is an exchange happening.
That's true, but you're forgetting the biggest part of that calculation.
What's that?
How the hell you got there. You just put yourself in a virtual environment that you would never get to but for intellectual property and private contracts. Hate to tell you, but there were like 100 of them. Plus the beginning of the fact that if you didn't have IP, you would have never been put there to begin with. Because if you wrote a good song and you didn't have IP rights, like 100 people would have taken it. And truthfully, somebody has a better voice than you and I.
I'm not necessarily.
Better, right?
I'm not necessarily tracking with that.
Okay, yeah, right.
Because think about a great orator. That's also a type of music. They're singing a certain song.
So if somebody sings your song better than you, then they'll get that attention, and they'll be the ones that get the contract, and they'll be on stage, and you won't be on stage. So the fact pattern you created in your mind there, right here, it wouldn't have happened because you had to be the owner of the copyright. You also had to be the one that had the unique gifts and talents to be there.
Okay,
to get the contract, right?
If I have a great voice and I'm writing good songs, I'll get more female attention.
Not if some other dude sings your songs with better sex appeal.
But we're talking about me having that. We're talking.
Okay, so you're the guy. Let's say you've got it all.
Yeah.
So you want to be the guy who steals. This is like China. So you want to be China. You want to be able to copy everybody's shit. Just be the dude with blonde hair and blue eyes who steals everybody's shit.
Are you doing it better? If you're doing it better, there's no argument. Like if I wrote a song and somebody can sing it better, that doesn't defeat that. That's not getting around my point.
You're killing artists. You're killing artists with your analogy.
No, I'm killing propaganda with my analogy.
No, but you're actually killing the creative lifeblood of artists because you would
disagree.
If you did that, you would kill the life. You would kill the life's energy of artists.
I disagree. I think I would kill the life energy of propaganda.
So why would artists create anything if everybody could just steal it and monetize it better? By doing it better. Like I could do you better. so I can make more money stealing you rather than doing me.
What do you think? What do you think people did with music before the recording industry?
I'm just asking you: is that how you want it to be? Like, if that's a world that you're envisioning?
I'm at the top as far as songwriting and performance, so I don't have to think like that.
Yeah, but you don't have to. But what you're advocating for is that those people should do better because they could do you better.
Why wouldn't I want them to do better?
So you'd want somebody to be able to steal your stuff, not pay you for it, and if they could do it better than you, then they win.
But they do, though, and they should. Because what we're trying to do here is create a better world, not a world where everybody gets what they deserve.
Oh, interesting. Whoa. Hold on. We can unpack that for like hours. What did you say? And we're a world where people get what?
We're trying to create a better world.
Rather than a world that people get what they deserve.
What they think they deserve.
Well, wait a second.
Because check this out. If let's say there's no courts, no laws, no lawyers.
Sure.
If someone writes a song and I perform it better, people will listen to my version of it.
Yeah. So what does that do for the creator?
But you're putting that in place. Who says that anything needs to be done for the creator? You're going against the laws of nature.
What are the laws of nature? The creator's going to create whether or not he stays poor the rest of his life?
That's how masterpieces get made.
Okay. Well,
that's how we get Van Goghs. Yeah.
So they should.
That's why there's not Van Goghs anymore, because of intellectual property.
Yeah, but people bought Van Goghs because it's Van Gogh.
The character Van Gogh. He died crazy because he was pushing for great art.
We're good with that. We're good with that. What'd you say? So don't protect the artists.
Protect the competition.
So it's capitalistic.
Absolutely.
And it's meritocratic.
Yes. Purely
meritocratic.
Yes.
So I'm gonna dance with you on this because I'm like, whoa, you blew my mind there for a minute because I'm a creative. I write songs too, and like I created stuff, and like it never even occurred to me to think that those words would come out of an artist's mouth because like you're like, screw that. Like whoever can do someone else's stuff better, like let them win.
Yeah, absolutely. Too big to fail is a failure. Like let's not boost up failing systems.
Yeah, okay, but what about? Here's the problem. Okay. Let me give you a problem with that. What if? Here's the thing: is we need each other, don't we?
Yes.
If we don't have people that write music, we won't have somebody doing you better than you do you.
Say that again.
Somebody can't do you better than you doing you because you won't do you. Meaning you won't write your song if you're dead.
If I'm dead?
No, if you can't pay your rent, if you're poor.
I mean, I write better music when I'm down and out. Period.
Can I help you with that? I could help you invest your money in a side bank account so you feel poor and continue to write, but it'll still be there for you later.
I've had to force that. I've had to force.
You're not drinking fast enough. I'm just saying.
I've had to force difficulties to
be inspired.
Creative place.
Okay, well you have a coping mechanism.
Have you
it's
heard
clearly
of a book?
Not drinking because you're not good at that.
Have you heard of a book called Deep Work? Cheers.
No. So wait a second. I see the world a little bit differently. I see the world as we're pieces of a puzzle that need each other. We need an audience, right? We need audience. Mm-hmm. Musician needs somebody to listen to it. Otherwise, why am I motivated? If I'm not going to inspire anybody, if it doesn't touch somebody's heart, not worth it. Maybe.
Okay.
Sometimes it's just in you. Lots of people paint. They paint some shit that not many people want to see. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think they should be artists.
Yeah, well, I agree. So you're a fan of some. There's like a self-selection process you're okay with.
Oh,
I totally agree.
We need less artists.
By the way, I want to tell you, I run a business that's it's a meritocracy, which means that people can exist within it, and there's going to be successes and failures, which also means we're massive wealth gaps, which you're acknowledging you're okay. It's just a function of societal merit, meaning if we are upward spiraling the world, it's going to create massive wealth gaps.
It's a competence hierarchy.
It's a competence. Okay, right.
But that already exists. We didn't put that in place. That's a law of nature.
So I'm going to take issue with that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's a competence hierarchy. I think it's a little harsh.
Okay.
Which is ironic because I'm usually the harshest one in the room.
Okay.
Did I just slither or whatever that was? Thuffer and thuckatash.
On Pandora's box. I
Pandora's
found
box,
the limit. I did it. I think I broke the system.
Slithering, whatever. Slithering snakes. Okay, good. I think that its competence is a little harsh because not all... You could be immensely competent in a way that doesn't create value that people will part with.
Well, there's different hierarchies. There's not just one.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, you can be a great accountant but a horrible songwriter.
Of course. In fact, I expect that, by the way.
So we need to know who needs to stop trying to be musicians and stop trying to be painters so that they can go be the other things. The job is weird. There's a lack. There's a yeah.
But you said it's a competence hierarchy, but there's a thing that look. There's just the truth of that. There's a hierarchy of needs, and people are going to pay more for certain things that they really need, like health and legal and other things that they need, and less for things that are wants and not needs, like art. Like, because if their basic needs are they got nowhere to live, or they get robbed they get burglarized every month, they're not going to have art on the wall.
Art's not a utility.
Yeah.
Art serves to be great. We need great art.
It's not about competence necessarily in a totally meritocratic model. It could be that you're immensely competent in something that nobody values and will part with their cash for. And the question is, do those people could be living their purpose in this world, and do they deserve to suffer?
No, I mean, nobody deserves to suffer. But everybody will suffer. Everybody suffers. And the more and the more you lean into your suffering, the more resource you have. Like, it is a resource. Suffering is.
Okay, so explain that one.
So,
like, help the people that are suffering right now find their resource, because I don't know how to do it. So I'm trying to feel like.
Yeah.
Tap it for me.
Yeah. So you stop what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you try and articulate the suffering, and then you bring that thing that we were talking about before, gratitude, back into the equation.
Okay.
And what you'll find that suffering is it's a detection system. It's an alert system. It points to the thing that is going to be your demise. So it's like.
But can't it be that you're doing something you're less competent at, or less of your purpose? Like, you're not living your purpose, but you're doing it because you have to survive.
Are you talking about art right now? Let's be more specific, because
Let's pick art. Let's say art is your calling.
Okay.
Art is your actual competence, but nobody values it because it's like so weird. So, what is your competent at?
Yeah, the competence thing is more. I guess I was being more meta with the competence thing.
Okay.
But with art specifically,
sure.
It's not just competence. There's like stick-to-itiveness and passion that goes into it.
Got it. So you're saying in a capitalistic and meritocratic world, if we imagine that world with no IP, that the right people would get on in the world, and the people that need to sort of learn a lesson and move on to something else kind of get the hint or kind of suffer for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. So where did IP become a problem? I'm trying to understand where it became a problem.
Well, I think that it's
stifling
kind of innovation.
System. It's an honor system.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's a really interesting thing you said, because in one sense I completely disagreed with you. When we actually look at the public policy around IP, it actually is creating a negative monopoly, meaning it's giving you a right to sort of block other people, not to own it. There's a nuance to it, but an obligation to use it. So in one sense, I was really disagreeing with you about IP. In another sense, I'm like going back to the public policy of it, which is like, it's kind of a negative monopoly. The government gives you a head start of a certain amount of time, but you have to use it to advance society. It's going to better society. It's going to do something good. So we're going to give you a head start, but if you don't use it, you lose it. And that's the public policy. So in some ways you could say, sure, it stifles innovation, but on the other hand, we're talking about things that take hundreds of millions of dollars sometimes to cure disease that would never be invested into, but for a head start. Because if you didn't have a head start, you could not economize or recoup, let alone monetize the investment into it. So there's an immense amount of societal benefit to creating a head start.
Okay, check this out. It's not all about making. I hear you. It's not.
Sure.
It's not all about making chemical compounds and selling them. It's like once you say, "Oh, smoking causes cancer," the cat's out of the bag. You've just saved so many people. It's not like that was like that discovery led to some prescription that they started giving people. Like, there are discoveries that are being stifled that don't necessarily need to be backed financially. It's just a tipping point. It's like a light bulb.
Look, some of the best stuff that can save you from dying of COVID-19 right now is just taking vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
People don't know that. Like, people who have sufficient amounts of that don't die. Like, so why? But that's more into like, why don't anybody tell you? Because it doesn't sell drugs and nobody owns vitamin D. There's no IP rights on it. So now it just cuts against the argument, because in a way, the problem is actually that nobody has an incentive to promote life-saving things that nobody owns.
That's not true.
Well, what's
There is
absolutely
an
true?
incentive
What's the incentive? Why would it
to
happen?
save lives.
Wait a second. Not a moral. If they're moral incentive, everybody would just be
That
we
of
on
all the
streets.
things that we were saying should not be moralized, that is one thing that should be moralized.
That we should all be on the streets protesting right now with vitamin D signs.
We don't need to be on the streets. I've got Spotify listeners. I can say take your vitamin
You could,
D.
but it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not
You're talking to one person who's crazy enough to make a song about take your vitamin D.
You crazy. That's what I'm just saying. You crazy.
I would
It's
do
good.
that
You
if
would
I
do
could
that,
save
okay?
lives.
Okay,
like,
but you
come
can.
on.
But you can.
Yeah, and I will do
You
that.
can,
And
yeah.
I will do that. And
Yeah.
and in our music, our first album does have messages that promote goodness. And I would have done it if I was not getting paid and if I wasn't getting all the streams. It's like
What kind of music is it?
like alternative rock, pop, indie,
Okay,
futuristic vibe.
Okay, got it. Okay, it's not hip hop. For
Some of it a little.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you wouldn't write a vitamin D song with the word nigger in it, would you?
No.
Okay,
But I would
just making sure.
I put an A on the end just to round
as
it
if
out.
I checked and that's not a different word. I'm just saying.
I know,
did check.
I just like to
did
round
check.
it
Okay, good. That's awesome. Just making sure.
Yeah. So
Detour.
Yeah, detour. We're taking a detour of all D words that we can.
No, it's
say.
fine. IP. Did we exhaust the IP topic?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
But if you feel ready
No,
to
it's
move
good.
on-
Hey, if you think, I just don't. I'm trying to understand, like an artist advocating for a truly. Look, it's a world I never envisioned. Interestingly enough, I'm a fan of capitalism and of meritocracy, and so
art is stifled. There are too many artists. It is not evolving. There's science, but the thing is,
okay.
it bleeds over into science. Like science, there's IP in science, and it's like we're stuck. Like,
why are we stuck? America's the most innovative in the world.
But as far as technology,
Yeah, as
not
far
as
as
science. Science has become the art of comfort. There's no scientific advancement that does not relate directly to human comfort. It's not about discovery anymore. We need to go into territories that are not comfortable.
Okay, what's that? What's an example?
Okay, to tell people stop trying to go to space. That's not comfortable. People would be like, why? And if you were to go like, no, like sit down and explore inner space, explore the world. We don't know the world we're on. Why are we spending billions of dollars trying to get into space when there are people starving on this planet? It's ridiculous.
Okay. So what's the point of that relative to IP? I don't get it.
Well, I'm saying that IP, intellectual property,
Yeah, sure.
the effect that it's having on art, the stifling of art, is getting as close to masterpieces. It also bleeds into other territories like the sciences.
So you're thinking because somebody owns a song that they're stifling somebody else's art? Like, I'm just trying to break it down to something practical.
Okay. So
you write a song, who am I stifling if you own that?
You said who am I what?
You write a song,
Okay.
who's stifled because you own that song?
That might be breaking it down too much. You're saying if I write a song, who's stifled?
Yeah, well, wait a second.
No,
you gotta be able to take this to practical.
We
level,
can.
right? 'Cause
I just want to
You're
get
imagining a world where there's no IP rights. So, like, right, we gotta go down to the real example of tomorrow. Tonight you go home, you write a song. You're like, at a great show in Pandora's box. I'm gonna write about vitamin D.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use the word nigger with an A.
Okay.
Just because you decided to.
Okay.
Okay, and so, but you don't own it. So, like, who's stifled? What if you own it? Is somebody stifled because you own that song?
It can go there. Not at the beginning, but the thing about these things is that it gets all mangled post-mortem. Like the laws. It's not clear.
But wait, it's not clear. You own the song. That's clear. Copyright law is really clear. You own the song, for 95 years after you die.
Well, you haven't seen the contracts I'm signed to, so you don't know if I.
Okay, that's contracts. It's a different thing. The IP law and contract law are different. Meaning,
my question is deeper.
you could
Should intellectual property exist? Is there a such thing?
I get it, but what you had to beef there was with a private contract, and people should know. For all who don't know, you can sign away your constitutional rights in a contract.
You can.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yes, they know. One of the first cases you'll learn in law school is about a kid who's like, grandfather said if you don't drink, if you abstain from drinking, in college or something like that, then I'll buy you a car or something. And like he got caught drinking, so uncle didn't buy him a car, and he sued his uncle. Like, he's like, it's my right to drink. I'm old enough to drink, and the law says no. You can, as long as there was consideration, you gave away something in exchange for something else. It's a bargain for exchange. So most people don't realize that you can have a bargain for exchange, and they can be lopsided. And sometimes those deals are not good. And it's separate thing altogether than the public policy around protecting somebody's ideas. Which is, anyway, not to go too deep on it, but it is different. Meaning, you're more likely to get...
They tie into each other, though. They're not complete... They're not... The genesis of them was not completely separate.
The contracts dance with IP law all the time. Right? They're not completely separate. They dance.
There's a reason why that's the case. It's because it's not clear. It's not clear how that intellectual property should exist. So that means a lot of law has to go into it. It's like a very complicated.
One thing I appreciate about you, I haven't heard your music. I want to hear it. Is that you've got to be pretty confident, not only in your purpose but in your badassness, to be like, fuck IP. Fuck IP. Like, you just got to be good.
Because all the things
so I respect somebody that comes with a spirit of like badassery, true merit, like the spirit of simply being better, create more value in the world, because those are the people that deserve to exist. That's crazy shit right there.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool,
Awesome.
Because look, and then you've got the compassion side. So what about subsidy? I'm bringing up a new thing.
Okay.
Well, subsidy is a concept that somebody can't do that. Technically what you're saying is that if you're poor, you'll either do something else or you'll find a way to be a badass. You'll be industrious.
Ooh, I love that word.
Yeah.
Love that word.
Yeah. It's a good word.
It's
a good word, yeah?
It is,
Yeah. Find a way to make that shit happen. Conviction.
We need that. I want to turn every backyard into a farm.
But some people weren't made to be farmers. Man, what about guys in houseplants? Like,
what's a houseplant?
Like, you got to water them.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what's a houseplant?
Like, what do you mean?
There's like 6 in the place I'm staying right now.
Exactly. They're plastic. They're all plastic.
I'm like, I was supposed to water that?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You want to open the box?
Sure.
Do it. The last one. We got the last one here.
Last one. Wow, we've actually done pretty good, man.
We've done good.
Violent protest.
Violent protests. We touched on it. Let's. We only tickled it.
Okay. Violent protests. What's the utility?
Because people don't get. Look, people are conflating and confusing free speech and peaceful protest from violence and illegal activity. And the problem is on both sides. This is a political issue. On both sides, politically, truly nobody's condemning it. I'll give you an example. It's clear why the Democrats aren't doing it, because the Democrats, we had the best economy ever in December before COVID hit.
Okay.
And so they had no chance with a good economy. So it's very clear that with shutdowns and the worse things get, and like the more violent it could look, the better for them.
Okay.
So that's as easy as a day to trace. Because like politicians always do what in their best interest. Mm-hmm. Sadly, it never should have been that any politician or political party would allow destruction of human value, like everything, like people's livelihoods that are being destroyed through this, that they're not protecting, which are minorities, small businesses, the spirit of this economy. This is small people that employ people. Mm-hmm. The people that need to be employed, they need jobs. Like, those are the people being hurt by it, all for a political purpose. That makes me so angry. But why be angry? The point is, I'm pissed because I don't think that's what it doesn't serve any of us in the world. It doesn't serve anybody. But then you also have the Republican side of this thing that are like absolutely spineless and not drawing a distinction. Why are the Democrats not drawing a distinction between Black Lives Matter and illegal violent protests? Which, by the way, it's appearing very white at the moment. The violence part, which is crazy. Like, I had black friends who were looking at, like, the white people protesting and doing violent shit, and they'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you're making Black Lives Matter look bad. Because, like, you got white women on the street yelling at black cops all of a sudden, talking about systemic racism when, like, BLM is supposed to be about police brutality.
Confusing.
Completely confused.
You know, this Pandora's box thing is perfect because that's kind of what we opened up socially. Because that's what you're showing is that it has nothing to do with what we think it is.
It's nothing at all what we think it is. It's nothing at all what the media is saying it is.
It's a lack of gratitude.
But the Republicans aren't calling it out either. Spinelessness. Absolute spinelessness.
Maybe.
Why aren't they speaking up?
Maybe all the politicians are in bed together.
Well, I mean, again, the approval rating is lower of them, and this is where it gets to pointing the finger and projection. What a great place to land the plane. Is because we started this whole thing with projection. Like, it's like there's so much of that and nobody sees it because we're all like idiots and everybody points, and the person you point at, the crowd looks at. Meanwhile, it's the person that's pointing that's doing exactly what they're saying the other one is doing.
If you smelt it, you dealt it, right?
Yeah. You said it, you let it, whoever smelt it, dealt it. And that shit is happening, and nobody, like, we need to wake up. Like, if we just understand what projection is, then we're going to understand what's happening in the world better.
And then maybe we can have a positive impact on the planet.
Yeah.
Instead of...
Because people don't see what's real, because while everyone's looking over there, cats away, the mice will play. And everybody knows that. And they're playing the oldest game known to man, and idiots we are for listening to that shit time after time, year after year, and not getting smart.
Man. True story.
Crazy stuff.
Crazy stuff.
We opened the box.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming tonight, man.
Yeah, I had fun.
I love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
Thanks. All right. I'd hug you, but it's COVID.
COVID season.
But we were tested. We're good.
There you go.
All right. Let's do it.
All right.
I love it. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming to Pandora's Box, Christopher Marston and my friend
Coleman Trapp.
Yeah, baby. Have a great night.